I'm mad. I am frustrated. Multiple times a week, my mother forces me to leave my house, walk down the street, around the corner, and put away our plastic recyclables. Just recently, I found out that this walk is futile. Most of this isn't even recycled. As a matter of fact, 79% is put into landfills or shipped out of country. 12% is incinerated, burned up to produce small amounts of energy and putting toxic chemicals into our atmosphere. And only 9% is recycled. 9%. I'm mad. I am frustrated. I wanted to make a change. Statistically, every week of my life, I dispose of 1.7 kilograms of plastic. Doesn't seem like too much. Think of 125 plastic bottles every single week. What happens to it? I did some further research, and I found out that 9% is mostly plastic bottles, plastic containers, things that can be easily recycled, turned back into what they were before in a closed circuit recycling. That other 91%, nearly everything else, most of it is shipped off. As a matter of fact, last year in Germany, 95% of all not recycled plastic was shipped to countries like China. These countries have essentially become the landfill of the entire world. China itself was taking in so much plastic that it had to close its borders to the Western countries. This diagram here shows the total intake of plastic waste into China from other countries in 2017. As you can see at the beginning of the year, it was taking a ridiculous amount of plastic. And around October, when the landfills became full, it was forced to stop. All of that plastic coming into China was now staying in the countries. And officially, as of January 1st, China has implemented a ban on all waste coming in from outer countries. The countries that were sending their waste originally are now finding difficulty in finding ways to deal with all of their excessive waste. And they're facing waste crises. In my opinion, the ban was the best thing that could possibly happen. It's just the right push that these countries needed in order to start making a change and making a difference. And we can already see that countries' governments are doing this. Take the European Commission, for example. One goal of their plastic strategy is that by 2030, 100% of Europe's plastic packaging will be recyclable. This is the type of change we need. This is the difference that we are looking for. This tackles the problem from the producer side of things, so that once the plastic reaches its end and is ready to be recycled, it can be done easily. Maybe in 2030, I won't feel as frustrated walking to the recycling bin. Still, that's a long way away. Personally, I would feel just plain wrong waiting that long to make a difference when I know I can go out and do something now. Most of you probably wouldn't feel right waiting over a decade for change to happen when you can go outside right now and make a difference yourself. And I know as a fact that other people think the same way. A Mexican startup company, Ecodomum, and a New York startup, Fusion, are tackling not only the problem of plastic waste, but also the problem of affordable housing. Every day, Ecodomum converts 5.5 tons of plastic waste into the walls, floors, and ceilings of affordable housing in Puebla, Mexico. Similarly, Fusion is currently sourcing funds to produce a machine that takes all of the plastic waste and converts it into bricks like these that can also be used to make the walls of affordable housing. Both of these projects are making a positive impact on the dent being made in the still increasingly large amount of plastic waste being generated every single day. I want to make a dent too. I went online and I joined Precious Plastic. Precious Plastic is an online startup whose goal is not only to reduce plastic pollution around the world, but to inspire and teach others to do the same. Their entire organization is completely online based, meaning that any difference happening in the real world, anything that is happening to make a real change, make a real difference, is happening by people who are just frustrated, by people who want to help out. The most important feature of their site is their map. The Precious Plastic map allows or shows the location of everyone who has registered themselves as someone who is willing to help and wants to make a difference. By adding myself to the map, I found that there are over a dozen people within an hour of here willing to help and willing to join a project. That's plenty to start an entire team, but I'm not in any rush to get ahead of myself. Currently, I'm working with a couple people at the school, and we've put a plan in place to gather the resources and set up the system we need to collect enough plastic to be used. The first step is, of course, collecting the plastic. Last year in Germany, 40 to 60% of all recyclable plastic was put in the wrong bins, losing the chance to ever be recycled in the first place. The story at ISD is no different. That is why ISD's green team is working to better enforce the separated recycling bins around the school. By collecting the plastic effectively and efficiently, we are already making a difference. In order to use this plastic, to recycle it, to make new products, it takes certain machinery. These machines can be expensive and difficult to acquire. And that's why the people behind Precious Plastic have equipped their site with tutorials and videos on how to make these machines from almost entirely recycled materials. The first machine, as you can see here, is the shredder. This takes your larger pieces of plastic and grinds them down into plastic pellets, the right shape and size to be put into the other machines. This can be made using an old motor and some scrap metal. The first option for your plastic pellets is a compression machine. This heats the pellets and compresses them into any mold you would like. This can be made using an oven and a car jack. Another option is the injection machine. Similar to the compression machine, it heats your plastic and injects it into a mold. This would be more tailored for smaller designs and smaller molds. It can be made using old pipes and scrap metal. And the last option is the extrusion machine. This continually takes in the plastic pellets and extrudes them into a smooth, continuous line of plastic, similar to what would be used in 3D printing filament. Once we get the system up and running, we'll need your help. That's why I'm here today, to ask for your help. With everyone's help, we'll be able to collect enough plastic to begin shredding it down and creating useful products to be used in the ISD and Düsseldorf community. An issue that the school is currently facing is the amount of disposable cups being used on a daily basis. By shredding and molding essentially any type of plastic into the shape of a cup, we are able to create a reusable product able to be used by anyone at any time. Another opportunity would be, that's very popular online, would be to create items for the ISD school store. We would take shredded plastic and turn it into things like keychains, phone cases, anything you want, so that you can represent your school or anything in an eco-friendly way. The school has 6 3D printers. Some of you probably, as walking in, even saw a 3D printer. And as you would have seen today, they seem to be constantly running, always printing something new. These run on plastic filament that costs 15 to 40 euros a roll. By shredding down and extruding either PET, the type of plastic used in bottles, or old failed printing attempts, we'd be able to make enough 3D printing filament so that we could print as much as we want or would ever need. And maybe, if we're really, really successful and really ambitious, we'll be able to source enough plastic to create the walls for the new East building at the school. I'm not sure where this project will take us. There are many possibilities. All I can hope is that this is what's next at ISD. Thank you.